My name is Danny. Shout out Juani Worldwide, Chicago native. My most toxic traits. I would say oh God, this is really hard. I mean, there's a multitude of things, right, that can be categorized as toxic. That's one thing I absolutely want to preface. However, toxicity as a whole is not defined by just one thing. If I were to choose one that definitely sticks out in my head, is that I would say I can definitely be obsessive. Obsessive is definitely a word that really comes to me. I think the idea of obsession or over fantasizing or over infatuation definitely can be something that's toxic to myself. I would say it's manipulation. But not in the manipulation of I'm getting what I want, but rather putting on a facade for so long that I have you almost manipulated into this person that I want you to believe that I am, which still holds true to who I am, but it's not the whole truth. And granted, I'm one to talk because I tell myself and I tell all my friends to kind of live their truth their entire time and whatever that may mean. But in this case, is it toxic to me? Yes. Is it toxic to another person? Yes. Is it edifying in any place? Absolutely not. In my previous relationship, I think that's the very first place that I think of toxicity and I think of love, because I was the first person that I genuinely fell in love with. Was there a lot of manipulation? Yes. Was there a lot of obsession? Yes. Was there a lot of abusive characteristics that were surrounded by toxicity? Absolutely. But it's not as clear cut as some people make it to be. Part of being toxic is being blinded by some of these characteristics. Having that trait or characteristic for yourself is even more blinding, because once you move into an area that isn't yours, or that you're not honing in, or that isn't your truth, you're easier to push that to the side and deal with it later. Okay. Shout out to my nerds if I don't know what to say. It's like, it's Pokemon, right? Like, I think of like Grimer and Mug, that like sludge ass Pokemon that's like shooting out like poison, or like one of their like old moves playing on my Game Boy was like toxic gas or some shit. It hurt the other Pokemon, right? And so if we were to put ourselves in those shoes, like we're essentially shooting that toxic gas with that trait. And it's really harmful on a personal level, on a spiritual, emotional, physical level. I think it speaks volumes when you have a community or a support system that's willing to call that out and not willing to let you live with it. So me and my best friend have talked about the different ships, as we call them, right? If we compare relationships with just the word ship in it, you create something with someone. So relationship, whether it be physical, emotional, whether it be sexual, or what that means, whether it be an acquaintanceship or a friendship, you're creating something with someone. But where is that toxic trait going? So I know that for my friendships, I'm not obsessive and I'm not manipulative. I think with my friendships, I tend to have this like, this need to be liked. Like this approval. Like my entire life has definitely been like, I need approval, I need approval, I need approval. It's definitely been something that I need in my friendships, in my people that I need in my intimate relationships. I think that's very different. I think that calls for a whole separate vulnerability of toxicity. I think it's kind of like saying I'm gonna stab you in the back, but with your friends, but with someone who is a potential partner, I'm gonna stab you even deeper. Or having a group of friends, or having a group of whomever that may be, family even, to say, hey, I noticed this about you and this is who you are. What do you think about it? And having an open conversation. I know from previous experiences, I've had some people tell me things, it goes through one ear, not the other, and I've had to hear it maybe 20, 30 times from the same person before I actually thought about it and had that conversation with myself. I think this question really, really should be talked about in the state of vulnerability and in the state of who are you being toxic to?